Hey guys, welcome to my Geekdom. I'm Brianna, and today we are spending time in the Opinion Pavilion. So grab your Shirley Temple and your hot pink notebook because we are going to be spending time talking about how sexism and capitalism tried to take the simple color pink and turn it into a symbol for the meek and obedient, and how modern society and modern media said forget that, it's a color for the strong. Today I will start by giving a little bit of history about the color pink, and I do mean a little bit, not when I go, oh, I'm going to talk for 1 second and then babble for 45 minutes about nothing. I do mean short. And then I will be giving you examples from our modern media as to exactly why pink is a color of strength, okay? Now, to start with, when you think about the color pink, it is, in general, supposed to be a symbol of femininity, softness, warmth. It is supposed to be a color that represents love and caring, of playfulness, of romance, tranquility. Tranquility I don't really get, but that's because when I like pink, I like neon pink. As you can tell from all of these guys. Also, this was what I was down to. I used all the other colors from my notepads. Anyways, so the color pink started out as a gender-neutral color for the rich. Because like everything else, you had to have money to have colors. It was pointless to be a peasant back in the day with a color like pink, where when you used hot water to scrub your clothes clean from a hard day of work, that color is just going to fade away. So the point of the cost of spending money on a color for just fashion was stupid. You just wasted a year's pay for one shirt that was ruined in the wash. However, if you were wealthy, then that doesn't matter. You wear your clothes once, you toss them, whatever. I'm not a historian, that's somebody else's point, but what I am saying is it was a color that men or women could wear if they were rich. It was a color for young boys, as demonstrated in the animated film Anastasia, because men wore red, and to separate them, young boys wore pink, because it's on the red spectrum. And in that one sequence when she's daydreaming about her family, Anastasia remembers her younger brother, and he is in pink, which makes sense because they were the aristocracy. Now, as time goes by, fashions naturally change, colors become more or less popular, but pink remained pretty gender neutral until World War II really rolls around. In World War II, we get the pink triangle as a symbol for the Nazis the queer people imprisoned by the Nazis. Pink in that instance meant that this person is less strong. They are weak because of their sexual preferences. So we are going to mark them with the color pink. Women were in the workforce, but when men came back from the war, they were encouraged, shall we say, to go back home so that the men could have the jobs. To help encourage them, the men in marketing, and this is where capitalism starts to come into play, they started making things in the home in pink. So that way women would have pretty pink things and they would want to go back versus staying in the workforce. So men could have their jobs again and women would be put away into the household taking care of the children where they're supposed to be, according to the thoughts of the time period. God, I wish it was still just then and wasn't something we had to worry about. At this same time, the Eisenhowers were in office. Mammy Eisenhower is known for loving pink. Was her favorite color. She decorated the White House with pink accessories. And in 1953, to the inaugural ball, she wore a gorgeous pink gown. You can still see it. It's in the Smithsonian. It is a beautiful gown. But the way that fashion works, she was the first lady. She was a person in a position of power and influence who had style. This was used to emphasize how pink is the color of femininity. If you wanted to be ladylike, if you wanted to be like the first lady, then pink was the color of choice. All of these things came together to make it a more feminine color. This also is what has led over the years to the pink tax. The pink tax being, we're going to make things pretty because women will spend more money on the pretty bottle, even though what's inside of it costs the same as what's inside of the matching product for men. Two of the most famous examples of this being the shaving cream and deodorant, okay? If you hold up and check the ingredients of men's deodorant and women's deodorant, they're identical. The price difference comes to the packaging because according to the psychology of capitalism, women want pretty things. I admit, I like pretty things, but I'm also not going to go out of my way. Anyways, not the point. See, look at me focusing. I did it. I focused. Okay, anyways. So now we are moving on. 1959. This is the release of Barbie. Barbie was not inherently pink, okay? Her first box was pink, but her outfit was black and white. So the symbol for Barbie was the profile in black on pink, but it didn't become her official color until later on in the 70s when the box officially became pink all of the time. It went from, hey, here's the first box to now all of the boxes. This also leads us to the invention of the ultrasound in the 1980s, when people could officially find out if they were having a boy or girl, and thus buy pink or blue for the baby, right? If you didn't know beforehand, then you were going to choose what was considered a gender-neutral color to paint and to buy the clothes because you had to fit whatever kid came out. Ultrasound comes along. Oh, well, now we know that we can buy her all the pretty pink stuff and he has to have all the sports things because that's what the boys need. Capitalism, sexism. They wanted pink to be a representation of the ideal woman, and they used it to encourage this ideal woman to stay in her lane in the home, training them from the young age so that they were prepared when they grew up that this was their place to be. Now, I'd like to take a moment to remind you all, I am not a professional. I don't have a degree. I am just some random geek on the internet who knows a little bit about a lot of different things. And as we jump into the analysis of the books, films that I'm going to be referencing, this is coming from my opinion. And I know that there are more articles out there in regards to reasonings for the choices to use the color pink that you can find online in regards to the topics of Glinda for Wicked and for the dress from the 1939 film and for its use in Mean Girls, as well as the article, where did the name go? Pink and Blue, Telling the Girls from the Boys in America, which is a article from 2012 in regards to why and how, like what colors and our preferences as male and female in different countries. Very interesting. Take a look at it. But that information is out there. I am not a source. I'm just a rando with a lot of opinions, okay? Now, I am going to start at the very beginning for me with my all-time favorite book, Alana the First Adventure, okay, by Tamora Price. This book has gone, you can see it, look, this is damaged, it's torn, it's falling apart on the edges, like anywhere I have gone, this book went with me. That is how much I love it. This is important because my copy is from 1997, okay? That is almost 30 years ago. This is a story about a young girl who disguises herself as her twin brother because in the kingdom of Tortal where they live, women cannot train to be knights. She doesn't have that option. Her option is to become a lady, and that is it. When you look at this cover, and you can't see it, again, I don't have all the pretty cameras and whatnot, maybe one day, but that day is not right now or in the near future. But the title, Alana, it is in pink. The rest of this cover is in shades of pink and blue. It's not a lot, but there is pink in this. Goes from pink to blue. Because girls are supposed to be pink, but she wants to fit into the world of men, which has to be blue according to the society that we live in. This is a young adult book. It's middle school grade. It is here, right here, telling us in the artwork that she's supposed to be pink. Now, there's a little bit of purple in here, but that's because it's a fantasy novel, so her eyes are violet, of course, but her magic is purple. But it's the pink to blue that matters, and the fact that on the in-between they have it changing into purple is just really cool artwork. And God, I miss this for modern day novels. Which takes me to Scout's Honor. This guy I reviewed in my very first episode, okay? This one, what are they called? The Ladybirds, okay? The Scouts are the Ladybirds. This is a book about preteen girls who are taught that they are responsible for handling all of the emotions of everybody all of the time, because strong emotions create monsters, literal physical monsters in this book. And these young girls are trained to use deadly weapons to stop them. And the growth of this book is about one girl named Prudence who saw her best friend get killed, is forced to rejoin the Ladybirds after she quits it, and decides that slow change is the best way to get them to change, and that's going to involve men and women working together and talking out their feelings so that they are working as a team to control these strong emotions before it gets to the violence. But their cute little scout uniforms, pink, because they are disguised as good little girls who have tea parties, which they have to properly learn how to pour tea, and all these other traditions that are about them getting through society, hiding who they are as a person to be a proper ladylike girl. The last one for the book that I like for why these symbolize strength, I haven't read it yet, but The Summer I Ate the Rich. This is about a girl who eats people, specifically the rich. It's in hot pink. This is theoretically, because I haven't read it yet, a symbol of the weak standing up to the strong. Pink is a color of strength here. pink is supposed to be the color of the good little girls. But these good little girls fight monsters. Here, with Alana, pink is supposed to be the color of the good little girl. But this good little girl, who does not follow the rules of society, who disguises herself as a man, grows up to be the hero of a kingdom because she broke the rules. Because she did what she was told she wasn't supposed to, and she did it while also finding who she is as a woman and what it means to be a woman, instead of what society tells her it's supposed to mean as a member of a noble family. Okay, so let's move on to what is a little more on topic for literally today, because Wicked for Good has been released, and in my research, it came up over and over again because I was trying to find information about Glinda's dress from the original film in 1939 for The Wizard of Oz. Excuse me, it happens every time. I'm so full of hot air. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay. Now, let's go back to the original book. When L. Frank Baum wrote the book, Glinda's wears white and blue because she comes from the sky. It is themed towards white being a color of purity and innocence, and then the blues, same thing. This is for the symbolism of being from the sky, being in her bubble, all of that. Blue is good. White is good. When you get to the 1939 film and you think about how amazing that transition from black and white into the Technicolor world that is Oz is, if Glinda the Good had appeared out of her bubble in a huge white puffy wedding dress, it does not hit the same as what that pink dress does. The pink dress was chosen and created by MGM costume designer. His name, I have it, Gilbert Adrian. This guy's famous for all of the work he did throughout the 30s and 40s for MGM and the costumes that he designed, including Glinda's dress. This was specifically meant to be a large confectionery. It's supposed to be a princess dress. Glinda needs to make an entrance, and white doesn't hit the same way that the pink did. So that is why the color was changed. Also, gives her a more feminine look, right? White would do that too, but white, like I said, would end up looking more like a wedding dress than this mythical, magical figure that Glinda's supposed to be to Dorothy. Now, for anybody who does not know, Wicked is not the story of the Wizard of Oz. It is not Dorothy's story. Wicked is Elphaba, the Wicked Witch of the West story, and Glinda. This is basically fan fiction. It was a book, and then it was a Broadway play, and now it is a 2-part movie musical. First one, absolutely amazing. Second one, I give like a C+. I think its biggest failures are still that of what the actual plays are. The performances, costume, amazing, absolutely incredible. But one of the biggest things I found while doing all of this, I say doing all this research, I did a little bit of research. I did some research. I didn't go crazy, guys. But people are mad because, or at least some people are annoyed, that they made Glinda have a pink aesthetic. That pink is her signature color, as if she is Elle Woods, instead of like in the Broadway play when it is in the blues, whites, purples that are more reminiscent of the book. Okay, so here's what I discovered, right? The play did that to make Glinda more like her character in the book, a witch from the sky. That's where she's supposed to be getting her magical powers. They use the white and the blues for those same reasons, for the purity and the innocence. But they didn't do it in the play because there is a chance that there could be some issues with copyright infringement from the movie. So it was more about the book, less about the movie, because they are different entities, okay? When they made Wicked and Wicked for Good, they made pink her color. They did that through and through. It starts with the bubble dress as an homage to the Wizard of Oz. There are no longer any copyright infringements. Everything got cleared. It's okay. Now here's to me, and I am 100% sure that there are articles and news things all out there about the real reasons. But to me, when you stop and look at the figure of Glinda, she is wealthy. She is not a princess, but she's basically a princess from what our modern understanding of wealth is. And they show it a lot in For Good when they are doing her memories of being a child, and she wanted to have magic and she wanted to show off. And when it didn't come true the way she thought it was supposed to, she lied and got praised for it and told how good and how talented she is. And she kept doing that for the rest of her life until the end of the play/film. That's what she did. She said, I'm gonna be magical. And she was never magical the way she wanted. So she just kept playing at it. She used her family's wealth and status to buy position, to kind of, in the beginning, it's almost like bullying Fiyero into a relationship. They both have their flaws that call out to each other. They say, we are attractive people of status. Yes, this is gonna work. Let's date. Let's do this thing. But the growth we see from Fiyero is clearer, where what we see from Glinda is performative by changing her name from Galinda to Glinda. And then second, she chooses to go along with everything the wizard and Madame Morrible say. She's become this symbol. It looks like she has magic. This lie she's told since her childhood has continued, and it's gotten her to a position of power and respectability. She is the epitome of good, of everything it is to be feminine, to be the perfect woman, to be of this status quo. Pink is this symbol for her. And when we get to the end of the story, when she has lost everyone and everything and has finally learned her lesson, that dress, her bubble dress, when she turns, it picks up different colors, much like the bubble in the original film from 1939 did. It picked up blues and purples while remaining pink. So we see that reflected in this film. She grows, the dress changes. They work together. It is an amazing artistic choice by the costume designers, by John M. Chu. It's great. Pink is who Glinda is before she grows up to truly become Glinda the Good, instead of just a symbol. Now, when we move on to one of the next most famous in film when you think pink, Molly Ringwald as Andre, as I was gonna say Andre the Giant, is because I was doing all those D&D things. And I just watched Princess Bride again, so he's right there. Yeah, Molly Ringwald plays Andre the Giant in this great biopic, guys. You should 100% go watch it. Amazing. She plays Andy Walsh in Pretty in Pink. God dang it. Who Andy is supposed to be in that film, right? She starts off as this meek character who is being bullied by the rich guy, and she has an alcoholic father. She's from the wrong side of the tracks, but she is very pretty and feminine, and she wants to go to design school. So she looks how Pink is supposed to be by society. But the truth is, she takes care of that alcoholic father. She stands up to him. She makes sure that he gets fed and deals with his emotions. That is a level of strength that many do not have. She stands up and says no over and over and over again to James Spader's character. He tries over and over and over again, and she tells him no every single time. Andy is part of the punk crowd, okay? She is not just that good little girl who stays home and does her homework. She has a job. She goes out and she has fun, and she goes to a club, and she stands up for what she believes in. Pretty in Pink, excuse me, is not just look at this good little girl. It is look at this girl who we underestimate constantly, but who is actually a symbol of strength. Now, Andy is not my favorite Molly Ringwald character, but when I think about the use of Pink and the things that she deals with and stands up to, she actually goes up in my esteem. Like, when I just think about it, I'm like, yeah, whatever. But no, when you really dig into it, there are more layers to Andy than there are to that final dress she makes, which is a hideous abomination. I am not wrong. There's no two ways about it. That dress was a bad choice. It should have remained the original one. Anyways, okay. Now, oh no, I dropped my Post-its. Okay, next on my list for somebody who is supposed to be the epitome of what Pink is supposed to mean, right? Pink is the love and understanding and all of these girly feminine traits. I would like to introduce you to Amy Jo Johnson as Kimberly Hart in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. This is a girl who, with the rest of her friends, in the title, it says teenagers with attitude, right? She has attitude. And even in her name of Heart, she is to me, I mean, we're talking about like one of my first crushes as a kid. Like, we all loved her or wanted to be her. But Kimberly stood up for what she believed in. She literally fought bad guys in a skirt. Like, they put the pink girl in the skirt because Pink is supposed to be feminine. That was the goal. That's the idea. She's the one who helps bring, oh my god, brain. The Green Ranger Tommy. She's the one who brings Tommy back, who helps him find his way. And she's supposed to be doing this through love and understanding. Absolutely. But this is love and understanding of strength. She fights him. As a Power Ranger, she fights him. She uses that love and understanding. That's fighting too. She is fighting for a friend. She is fighting for a possible future that they could have. And she's doing this for him as well as for herself. This is strength. This is not the weakness. This is not the idea that sexist, capitalist Pink definition is supposed to be. Okay? She is the epitome of that ideal turned on its head for the strength of women. Next, we are going to follow that line of thinking straight to Elle Woods. Elle Woods and Legally Blonde, in case I cut myself off there, right? Here is another woman of wealth. She has money. She lives in Beverly Hills. It is all about that opening sequence when she's shopping for a dress and trying to find, like, she's planning her forever. This is about love and she's going to get married and it's going to be so great until Warner Huntington III dumps her ass for someone more serious to make himself feel better. So even though she's living up to what the epitome of what Pink is supposed to represent, she has goals. It's in her sorority's song. Or maybe that's just in the musical. Now I'm confusing the musical and the movie together. But they're supposed to keep themselves looking young to make their husbands happy. Every part of her life is taught and devoted to living this ideal of what men think Pink is supposed to represent. She follows that ideal to Harvard. She is smart enough and strong enough to stand up for herself against those salespeople, which doesn't sound like a lot, but if you are more introverted, or there are some salespeople who just suck, and I am a literal salesperson, so I've seen that, and I've seen people who cannot make a decision. Like, there are people who would have easily fallen for that trick that's tried to play against her at the beginning of the movie. But no, she stands up for herself. She knows at the beginning, she believes that she wants this future that's supposed to be planned out for her with Warner. So she follows him. She gets into freaking Harvard Law School and follows him to the other side of the country. She tries to change herself to be this person, and in the journey learns that she is already worth it, okay? That she already has the strength. She uses love and understanding to become friends with her client, to become friends with Vivian. Took me a second. She even makes tracks with the one professor who ends up at Paulette's salon. She does all of this, and she solves a goddamn murder in real time. This isn't her sitting at home with a red string corkboard. No, she solves a murder in real time in front of people judging her. That is the strength that the color pink represents to a whole generation, to millennials and younger. When you think pink, you are thinking the Pink Ranger, you are thinking Elle Woods. Next, yeah, this one's a little bit rougher. Mean Girls, okay? On Wednesday, we wear pink. That is what they say. These three girls, when we focus on the plastics before Katie joins them, when we focus on Regina, Gretchen, and Karen, they come from wealth. It is right there. They have the wealth. They have the power. For them to say that their group wears pink on Wednesdays, they are taking that away from everybody else. How do I figure, right? They established who Regina is, how Gretchen has all of the secrets. They exercise that power and that underhandedness to control the rest of the school, to control the rest of the girls in their grade. They wear pink for power. It is actually a manipulation tactic, because if somebody else dares to wear pink on Wednesday when they wear pink, they've crossed a line and make themselves a target. They are supposed to look gentle and welcoming and the pretty feminine ideals of what pink is supposed to be. But no. Now, they control everything and everyone by using the color. Now, the last one that we are going to talk about is going to be one that seems a little bit stranger because it's Stranger Things. How do Stranger Things and this idea that pink is a color of power versus the sexist and capitalist idea of what pink is supposed to be, how does that play out, right? In Stranger Things, pink is the color of disguise. Let me break it down to you, okay? There are very specific symbols for this, or very specific scenes for why pink is a symbol of disguise. And funnily enough, I went and I bought the Stranger Things lip gloss. This guy is a pH transforming lip gloss that I am wearing right now. Again, my lighting is terrible, but this is like a gray, it's a light black, it's a dark gray color. And I've had it on this whole time. It's pH balancing. It's turned my lips pink. So when I put it on, again, not the best camera for this, but it is darker, and I already have it on top of a layer of it, so you can kind of see that darker purplish hue, but it transformed my lips into a pink color, which I find hilarious. I assume that is the part of the pH balance for my lips specifically. It became a pinker shade. It might not be that same for everybody else. But I think it's really funny that in my breakdown for how pink is the color of disguise in the Stranger Things universe, the transforming lip gloss did that. And man, if there's somebody out there who is genius level between the writer's room and the marketing team and CoverGirl, holy shit, give them a raise. Now, here are my examples. And we are going to start in season 1 with Barb. Nancy uses Barb as her reason for going out. She leaves. Excuse me, again, taking too much air. Okay, so Barb is her cover story. Barb is Nancy's disguise while Nancy goes to meet Steve. And that ends in Barb's demise. R.I.P. Barb, I am always on your side. I love you. But her main color was pink. That is what she was wearing. And then in season 1, Mike dresses Elle in Nancy's old pink dress. So that is her main outfit throughout that first season, right? Elle is in disguise as just a regular kid. It's that simple. She was in an institute where they were experimenting on her. She tore a hole between these two worlds and she escapes. She's on her own. She's running. The boys disguise her as just some average Joe and even put her in a blonde wig. Pink is the color of disguise. That pink dress is supposed to make her look tiny and feminine and weak. But she is a kick-ass superhero who tore a hole between dimensions. She can use her psychic powers to reach across continents from one side of the world to the other. She can find people. She can throw them across rooms and almost off of mountains and make them pee themselves. She has power. But she's put in this little pink dress by boys because it's supposed to make her invisible to everyone else who could be looking for someone that powerful. Now, for the most part, pink is a highlight color throughout the series. Those are the two in season 1. Season 2 and season 3, none of them really stood out for me. Season 4, however, Robin and Nancy go to, Penhurst Mental Hospital, where they meet Robert Englund's character, right? To do so, Nancy dresses Robin up in her own outfit, which is this preppy-looking pink shirt that Robin says she is actually allergic to. It has this stranglehold on her. She hates it. She cannot stand this outfit. She can't believe she's in pink. When she's in Nancy's room, she's making fun of all the pink that is there. Of the, she opens up the jewelry case and it has a little pink ballerina in it. And when you look back at season 3, Robin just had dismissed Nancy right off the bat. Like, there's no way on earth Nancy Wheeler has anything to do with this, that she has any kind of strength. Why? Because Nancy wears a lot of pink, which is going to be my next point after I finish up with Robin here. Okay, so they go in disguise. They have these fake names that are, I think Robin's called Rose, actually. So, and Rose is how you say pink in many different languages. Some version of Rose, Rosa, Rosie, like it's all a different way to say pink in many different cultures. And as she's freaking out, when she can't hold it in anymore, she comes up with this amazing lie to get them into the hospital. While Nancy had started to flounder a little bit, Robin sold it and got them in her desperation to get out of this disguise, this literal pink disguise. Now, this is going to take me back to the beginning with Nancy. Pink is Nancy's disguise throughout the whole series. I am very love-hate with Nancy because she doesn't know who she is for the majority of this show. It's like every season, when you start off at the beginning, right? We've got her dating Steve, and she's prim and proper, and this is what Jonathan makes fun of her for. And she even gives the whole speech of, my parents got married, my mom was younger, my dad was older, they got married, they have their perfect house, they live on a cul-de-sac with their 6 figures, and it's all a bunch of bullshit. Nancy's favorite word, bullshit. Nancy is the character who, she doesn't wear a lot of pink, but she wears the most pink consistently. Her room is covered in pink. The idea is that Nancy is supposed to grow up to be this mini version of Karen, to be a mini version of her mom. But she learns that she can fight, that she is strong. Season 2 rolls around. She has to learn it again. She's still with Steve because she thinks she's supposed to. Listen, I am all on Steve's side. Nobody get on me. I am Steve 110% of the way. Best character in the show. Absolute ideal of what character growth is supposed to be. But in regards to Nancy, and my point here is that Nancy's with Steve because she's supposed to be with Steve. She knows she has an attraction to Jonathan, but that's not the ideal of what the world expects from her. So she has to learn it again. Season 3 rolls around. She and Jonathan are together, but they have their first crack in their relationship. They're at the newspaper office, right? And she's experiencing sexism. The sexism placed on her for being a good little girl wearing pink in the office. She is supposed to be this way. She's supposed to shut up and take it. She's never experienced this kind of sexism before. Jonathan has experienced classism. So this is the first crack. This is their first real fight. Is that this is something he's lived with, slightly different from what she's learning and going through. But Nancy's at her weakest when she is putting on the show, when she is being the good little girl, when she is wearing pink. Season 4, they are apart. She's still doing that. Like, she's still trying to fit into this ideal, this world, and then fitting into that ideal. What she wants to do, how she wants to go to college. She's using her experiences thinking, if I become a reporter, that's the way to do it. That's how I can investigate things. This is how I can use my brain. It's the only thing that will work and can, to the best of her knowledge and ability, meet the standards of the world she lives in. It's still not working. She forces Robin to put on this disguise as well. Again, in literal pink. It works for a minute, but that's not who Robin is, and it's in reality not who Nancy is. So now that we are in season 5 and Nancy is finally herself, I have not done the rewatch of the first part yet, but I don't recall seeing her in any single shade of pink for the badass that Nancy is finally accepting of herself. And I'll be interested because I'm on my rewatch of season 4 right now, so if I finish that and get into season 5 again before the final portion comes out on the 25th and 31st, if I see her in pink, or if we see her at all in pink again before this series ends, I'm gonna be really shocked. It's going to be surprising to me. And by that I mean if it's anything more than like necklace or a light stripe, right? Like, there's a difference between highlighting pink, between it being an accessory, versus that damn shirt that poor Robin had to wear. So yes, these are my examples. These are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Stay tuned for the reels when I get around to Mean Girls in the next few days. And let me know what you think. One last time, to be clear, pink's a good color. I am very specifically talking about how sexism and capitalism have tried to form pink as a feminine color for control. And again, how modern media has taken that idea and said, fuck you, this color belongs to strong people, not the ones you want to lock away in a little box because you said so. As always, thank you for visiting. I'll see you guys next time in the Geekdom.